It is 2025 and we still have not got a release date for Persona 6, not even an announcement. Now, I've been covering Persona 6 leaks and rumors for a while now, for about a year and a half I think, and you can check all those videos out in the description below. But basically, you know, all the leaks is going to get announced at this showcase, at that showcase, at this awards show, and then obviously the disappointment that was the Game Awards last year, 2024. However, at the beginning of this year, 2025, we actually have possibly another showcase that this game could possibly get announced at, and it is very exciting actually. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. It's going to be like another disappointment. It's not going to be exactly what, you know, it's supposed to be. These leaks and all that sort of stuff come out and then everyone gets disappointed. Trust me, I know. But just bear with me, you know. I'll present the information and then you guys can just deliberate amongst yourselves and let me know in the comments down below if you think this is legit. In fact, we actually will be finding out in less than 24 hours time if Persona 6 will actually get announced. So definitely, you know, subscribe, and you know, if it does get announced, I'll be first one up with the reaction videos for that one. So as you can see on the screen at the moment, Microsoft have actually announced their Developers Direct Showcase for 2025, and it actually is the first big name showcase for 2025, aside from the Switch 2 announcement, but that's a bit of a different story because the Direct is in April. However, the Developer Direct was announced January 9th for January 23rd, and again, when this video goes live, it is less than 24 hours from now. So January 23rd, Developers Direct, a celebration of what's coming for Xbox players, and basically it's just talking about, you know, all the IPs that they have in the works at Microsoft and Xbox. So as you can see, we've got id Software with Doom, The Dark Ages, we've got Compulsion Games with South of Midnight, and then we've also got Sandfall Interactive with Clair Obscura, Expedition 33, which I'm super excited about. I think that game is going to be absolutely amazing, especially for turn-based RPGs. But if we scroll down a little bit further, you can see that the showcase is happening January 23rd, 10 AM Pacific, 1 PM Eastern, 6 PM UK, and it's about approximately 4 AM for AEST, so I live in Australia obviously. But you can see that they're actually going to be showcasing with the dev teams of South of Midnight, Clair Obscura, as well as Doom, The Dark Ages, which is super exciting. Now, you can see here, there's actually a question mark around another potential game that has not been either shown yet or announced yet, right? And then people were speculating like, oh, you know, what can this game be? It can really be any single game, right? It can literally be anything. But we go to this article, Persona 6 speculation heats up following new report. Now, when this when the Xbox Direct got announced, there was a report that came with it from Windows Central, which we'll be going into lately. But as you can see, Persona fans think that the reveal of Persona 6 could finally be happening later this month, if a new report is any indication. So it is about time that Persona 6 I guess at least gets an announcement, just because it's been about 8 years since the Japanese version of Persona 5 got released, and it's roughly 8 years from P5 to P4 as well. So it should be about time that the game gets released. It's either going to be released this year or next year, but it should get announced this year. So if we go down towards here, we can see here in the report from Windows Central today, it was said that Xbox's upcoming Developer Direct, as we mentioned before, presented on January 23rd, we'll see the reveal of a new game in a legendary Japanese series. So legendary Japanese series can literally be anything. Like as you see, they've got mentioned Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Ninja Gaiden, and Resident Evil. I have heard that people have said that it could be the new Resident Evil game, or it could be a new Ninja Gaiden reboot sort of game, which, you know, I wouldn't be too surprised about. Dragon Quest I don't really see, and Final Fantasy I definitely don't really see either. I think those two particular games have already had like mini announcements throughout previous years. And I don't think Final Fantasy has anything substantial to show, unless they really like harped on development for Final Fantasy 17, for example. But I doubt it again. So another, you know, again, there's a multitude of different Japanese franchises that you can have a look at, especially from Sega with RGG Studios as well. A lot of those ones will be considered legendary Japanese series, at least in my eyes as well. So it can really be anything, but basically, you know, further details weren't provided in the Windows Central report, but this brief tease was enough to lead Persona fans to think that the announcement could be P6. So don't forget, the reason why I'm actually making this video is that Microsoft were the ones, or the first ones, to actually announce Persona 3 Reload. So they actually announced Persona 3 Reload at the Xbox Showcase back in 2023, during that, like, you know, the mid-year sort of game announcement period with E3 and everything. And they're the ones who showed off Persona 3 Reload. And I remember at the time, I remember thinking like, I'm pretty sure this might actually just be an Xbox exclusive. I remember thinking like, is this on PlayStation? I don't know. So Xbox were, you know, have previously shown off ATLUS games. So Persona 3 Reload was kind of the start of it. And don't forget, Metaphor ReFantasio was actually showcased at the Xbox events as well. So Xbox have definitely got a history of showcasing ATLUS games. This isn't just, me plucking something out of my arsehole. This is definitely tangible. This is definitely real that they have got a relationship with ATLUS. We don't know if they've signed some sort of exclusivity deal that they announce stuff at Microsoft press conferences. But obviously ATLUS are not dumb. It's going to be coming multi-plat, but they could show off it at Xbox showcases. So further to the report, last week Xbox announced the Direct, that viewers will visit a surprise location to see another studio's brand new game. That generated a lot of speculation from fans who wondered what the game might be. Following the initial announcement, insider Jez Corden, who has, very credible history with leaks, teased that the Xbox Developer Direct, it's actually industry insider now that I think about it, Xbox Direct is going to be a lot bigger than Microsoft is currently letting on. Corden has now elaborated on his comments with a new post. While Corden has not explicitly said what game will be, he has offered some hints in a new post on Windows Central. So I won't spoil what it is, quote, but our sources indicate that it is not a new entry in a legendary Japanese IP which has decades of history and should make a lot of fans happy. Indeed, Microsoft has won some strong support from the region lately from studios like Square Enix for Final Fantasy, Hoyoverse for Genshin Impact, and Sega and ATLUS for Persona, and we suspect this new game will help further that trend. Now again, I really doubt it's going to be a Final Fantasy game. I just somehow really doubt it, just because I don't necessarily see Final Fantasy 17 or the next mainline entry, or even possibly Final Fantasy 14 expansion being done so quickly. I just don't see that. Hoyoverse, I don't see that shit either. Could you imagine teasing this next big developer franchise and it's some freaking gacha game from Hoyoverse again? Nah, I think that would piss off a lot of people. Even though, don't get me wrong, Genshin Impact and Honkai and Zenless doing very well, and I enjoyed those games as well. But I just don't see that happening. And the last really ones that Jez has mentioned is Sega ATLUS for Persona, right? So to me, it's just got to be Persona. It has to be Persona 6, just like how they announced Persona 3 Reload. It's probably not even a full-on deep dive into the game. It's probably just an announcement being blah blah blah, it's coming. Stay tuned for the showcase mid-year. We'll show off more of Persona 6. That's what I reckon it will be. The more I read about it, the more I think, in fact, now that I'm actually recording this video, the more I think that it actually is very, very possible that it's Persona 6. So again, as with any rumor, readers are advised to take this with a grain of salt. It's possible that Corden sources are incorrect, which is definitely true, because obviously we've got people in the community, especially the online leak community, that have incorrect sources, like the Game Awards announcement, for example. That was obviously very, very incorrect. And actually, to be honest, it might not have been incorrect. It might be the case where they did decide to announce it at Game Awards, but then last minute things change all the time. I get it. And then they thought, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity. Xbox, can we use your showcase to showcase the game? It could be potentially that sort of situation. However, we don't know. But so far, out of the 2 Persona 6 leak videos that I've done, every single announcement I've said is basically just been bullshit. So, I'm really hoping this is not bullshit. I can't contain my excitement to see that it could potentially be, announced in less than 24 hours time. So that's really exciting. So regardless, it's pretty interesting that Xbox is keeping a tight lid on the game's identity. It is very interesting. Capcom and Konami would seem like the most logical choices. True, again, like the new Resident Evil games, as well as Ninja Gaiden. And both companies have plenty of legendary IP that would get fans excited. Capcom fans have been begging for new entries into the Mega Man, Dino Crisis franchises, and both would be a big deal. Konami's Castlevania is another IP that is in desperate need of a new entry. And then we've got Silent Hill, Metal Gear as well, that all belong to Konami IP. Regardless of what you think it is, regardless of what a new franchise entry into the legendary Japanese franchise is going to be exciting no matter what. No matter what it is, the Japanese franchises these days, they've listed off a bunch there, regarding Capcom, Konami, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest. There's a bunch of those games that any new entry into those series would be a very, very big deal. However, in my opinion, I do think the biggest deal, and if Xbox really want to start the year off just absolutely giving it to Nintendo and Sony, is announcing Persona 6 is on the way. So this thread that actually came across my news feed. Wow, I sound old. My Twitter feed on January 3rd from a guy or from a person on Twitter known as Tails Guy. I'll link the thread into the description below. But basically, this is a good thread about a good summary of everything that we know so far about Persona 6, and they've also got some new information that we don't know. I'll quickly go through it, but you can obviously read the stuff yourself. Now, it doesn't specifically mention announcements or anything like that. Actually, I think it might do later on, but it does mention that 2025 is the announcement date, and potentially 2026 is actually the release date. So we'll go through 2 protagonists, we know that. So this person somehow knows a person who confirmed with their eyes there are 2 characters. So again, all of these takes with, all of this take with a grain of salt. This person mentions it in the Twitter thread as well. And obviously with leaks and rumors and all that sort of stuff, like, don't go after the people who do the leaks and rumors, guys. Like, seriously, it's just a little bit of excitement for the community. If you don't want to read any of this, then definitely, you don't have to, obviously, so it's your choice. So yeah, we've got different backgrounds, Persona 6 themes, and duality. So that's been corroborated so many times now, which I really think that's actually the case. For more context, Brawn and Brain, Yin and Yang. The year of release for Persona 6 is 2026. Let me zoom in a little bit. The year of release for Persona 6, 2026 is the only thing I can say is rock solid. Can't explain why. We all want it to be 2025, but there's a reason no one has tacked on a year seriously. Probably because, just like with any sort of game development, it has probably slipped the 2025 release, and they probably need extra time for 2026, which I'm fine with. Make the game as polished and as bug-free as you possibly can. I've heard from 2 people 2026, and those 2 are matched. Don't hope for 25. It's a bit sad, guys, but it is what it is. So, and then basically we just go on through the Persona 6 is in development, which we already know. Locations, someone said Kyoto, which would be pretty cool. Yokohama, Monopoly, that was teased by Midori. We still don't really know what that is. If you don't know what that is, I don't really think it's anything, to be honest, but we'll see. Persona 6 combat, one fella said that a few action elements of the usual turn-based stuff. So whether this means metaphor or something like Persona 3 Reload, we don't know. Patiently waiting for Persona 6 to be announced by ATLUS when ATLUS wants to do an ATLUS, which is basically when they want an announcement. Persona 6 has completed development largely, which again, I think we've corroborated that a bunch of times as well. We truly believe that it has. Just like the leak with that, just like how Persona 3 Reload was actually announced at the Xbox Showcase. I think Persona 6 could be announced at this one coming out in less than 24 hours time. When will Persona 6 be announced? I know until Persona wants to know this the most. The thing is, nobody knows. ATLUS will do it when they're ready. We can guess that since it's a 2026 game, ATLUS, while they announced closer announcement 13 months away at most. So Metaphor was announced approximately 13 months away at a developers conference, Xbox conference. And I wouldn't be surprised if the game was aimed for 2026, which means so the thing was Persona 3 was a February release, I believe, or end of Jan, early Feb release. So let's just say they aim for the same sort of situation. So I know Metaphor was an October release. So as you can see, Persona 3 was announced at the same time and that dropped on, so that's about 8 months. So Metaphor's big trailer dropped 13-14 months. So possibly the announcement could be from April for January 2026 to October for December 2026. Now, if we take it for about 13 months or 12 to 13 months, it basically means that they will announce it in January this year for a January-February release next year, which is definitely possible. Considering 13-14 months was Metaphor. But again, this could just be copium. But look, all I'm saying is the stars are kind of aligning for this one, more so than that person who said that the announcement will happen at the Game Awards, for example. So this seems a bit more plausible in this sense. So this is, guys, actually, and again, this sort of goes on to my point about it could have been announced at the Game Awards. They may have not been wrong about the Game Awards announcement. So they're told that they were supposed to announce this game several times and they just didn't. No one really knows why. So it could be, again, with the Game Awards last year. I do think that if Metaphor won Game of the Year last year, I think ATLUS would have just dropped it the next day or something like that. But because it didn't, they were like, you know what, we'll just bide our time. And that's pretty much the end of the thing. All I really know is I heard from the guy said that Xbox doesn't have the rights to Persona 6 marketing this time around. So this is the one thing that I guess kind of throws a span in the works or pops the balloon. Where this time Xbox doesn't have the rights to Persona 6. But again, just because they don't have the rights to Persona 6 marketing doesn't necessarily mean that they can't announce it at their showcases, for example, because we all know that P3 and Metaphor, even though they were announced at Xbox showcases, ATLUS released trailers directly after the announcements with multi-plat, with all the platforms there in sort of like the bottom of the videos. So it could be a situation that's, the same situation. So basically, we don't really know. All we know is that Persona 6 is definitely in development. It's definitely probably, I would say, a good 75-80% finished development. I really doubt that it hasn't actually started localization yet. I really doubt. I think it honestly probably has moved into localization stages. So they're doing voice acting, casting, all that sort of stuff. I reckon that's happening right now. And basically this next year is just to iron out all the kinks to make sure that the game is fully representative of what they want Persona 6 to be. And I think this guy Tails actually does a very good job. Take a step back and enjoy the greater delights of life. Persona 6 is a game and it doesn't exist to anyone outside of the development team at this point in time. ATLUS have not said P6 like at all. They've just said the next entry into the Persona. They've said all this other wording except for Persona 6. So I think take these leaks and rumors with a grain of salt. Don't be too mean to each other, guys. Like, this is just purely for excitement sort of sake. And then just, sit back, chill, and relax. And then when we get Persona 6, we'll get Persona 6. I'll be screaming my head off doing my reaction videos as well on the channel. So definitely subscribe to see me yell. And yeah, like, it will get announced when it gets announced. I do truly believe that it will be this year in terms of the announcement at the very least. I'm still holding out hope, fingers crossed, copium, that it will be released this year. But it's looking like it's probably announced this year and released next year. But basically, developers conference, huge deal, especially with these articles as well from Jez as well as Windows Central. So new legendary entry into Japanese IP, whatever that may be, it's going to be super exciting. So definitely stay tuned. The conference happens on January 23rd, which is again less than 24 hours. 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern for you American fans. 6 p.m. UK for the UK fans, and it is approximately 4 a.m. AEST for us Australian fans. So definitely stay tuned to the channel for anything that pops up Persona related or anything ATLUS related, basically. Yeah, I'm just super excited. I mean, no matter what, I'm actually excited to see all three of these games, to be honest. So we'll see what happens. And then yeah, if Persona 6 does get announced, then yeah, definitely come back to the channel. I'll definitely have a reaction video up, and we can deep dive into the trailers and have a look. But until that time, definitely chill out, relax, and enjoy your day. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.